When I can't sleep, when I'm lying in bed, hyped from caffeine or excitement or anxiety, instead of counting sheep, which I must admit I've tried doing, I wonder if they're going to animate like I hope they are. Are they? It can work, and it's rather dull, which is probably the point. But still, instead of counting sheep, I list the top 10 things I would do if I won or inherited or successfully stole $10 billion. Or I list the top 10 superpowers I would want if I could manage to become a character in the Marvel Universe. Or I list my top 10 wishes. I usually feel guilty about wishing things just for myself. So I tend to wish for stuff like a cure for all viral diseases, the end to population growth, completely clean energy, and the ability to go back in time and stop Hitler's Holocaust, or Stalin's purges, or Reagan's inaction on AIDS, or stopping September 11th. Because really everything bad that has happened in the last 10 years is directly or indirectly caused by 9/11. The wars, the hate, the killing, the Tea Party, Casey Anthony, the Real Housewives. I could even find a way to blame 9/11 for Mondo losing to Gretchen on Project Runway if you give me enough time. Call it 6 degrees of 9/11. And now that we have enough time, I will do that. Mondo, a gay HIV-positive Mexican-American, made exuberant clothes that would be worn by the more fabulous character in an Almodovar film. This made him scary on, at least 5 levels? So, Gretchen's ready to be sold at Anthropology, Ladies in the Canyon, blandness. One, because it was, more of the moment. And safe. Bland and brown and non-threatening is the moment because the national mood is full of fear and ennui and broken promise of America. And this was created by the recession caused, at least in part, by Bush's terrible not paying attention to anything but war and stopping gay marriage, which he was allowed to do because he got reelected using jingoism and lies to win a second term, which never would have happened if not for 9/11. "9/11 caused Mondo to lose. All the bad things would never have happened if not for September 11th, and I wouldn't have had the dreams anymore. While it's not as often as it was, I still have nightmares. I never dream in reality, and I don't relive past events, so I don't really dream about standing on the corner of West 12th Street and 7th Avenue, watching the tower on the right, red and white ulcer in its side, trying my cell, running to the payphone and calling in tears my friend Rachel, who worked downtown, who I imagined being crushed by rubble or enveloped in flames. I don't dream about crying on the subway, going to work as if it was the right thing to do, then walking home south from the Time Life building against the masses creeping north, the now cliched perfect day, still totally perfect, 80 and sunny and slightly breezy, perfect except for the billowing white nothingness emanating from the tip of the island, which I was walking into and towards. I don't dream about buying a sandwich and sitting on a park bench with my friend Matthew, watching rollerbladers weaving down Hudson, going the wrong way carelessly down the carless street, just to gawk at the surviving firemen and tons of rubble. I don't dream about the nightmares I had for weeks and months and years later. I don't relive or redream. I do dream about the smell. My dreams are like documentaries of parallel universes. Instead of planes flying into skyscrapers, it's Imperial Star Destroyers stabbing the streets of the West Village. Actual, not CGI'd explosions eradicating my neighbors and the cars and Two Boots Pizza and the White Horse Tavern and the perfect townhouses owned by Sarah Jessica Parker and Gwyneth Paltrow. The dreams are like more chaotic scenes of Titanic, except a lot less ridiculous and focus grouped. And I was there, and so were my boyfriend, or my brother, or my mom, or my dad's dog. The memes, the themes, whichever, running, falling, fire, crashes, epic, epic crashes, and all through it, the distinct feeling of colossal malevolence and doom and that horrible stink, a mix of burning oil, melting plastic, plaster dust, and the ineffable sadness of things falling apart. When I tell the story of the wish to go back in time and stop 9/11. I'm trying to prevent this PTSD right now. I can't just leave it there. It's like poof, and it didn't happen. No, that doesn't really work. There's no grief, no missing posters, no smell, no poof. There needs to be a very logical, or at least narratively logical way for it to happen. For time travel, I use Doctor Strange-like magic or Star Trek physics to get back where I'm going. Then there are a number of scenarios. Sometimes I go to each house of all 19 hijackers and I assassinate them one by one. Sort of like in the last season of Buffy when the minions of the first evil offed all the potential slayers. Haha, you know. Except I'd be on the side of the righteous. But murder, even in the service of saving the world, even in the vision of me as a Jason Bourne-like, Jason Statham-like hero, which would be so super awesome, well, murder would probably be very hard for me, and I doubt I could do it. So there are a series of police tip scenarios in which I send copies of the 9/11 report to every police station in the United States, but in 1999. This probably would end up making me seem like a nut, and the book would just be treated like the Turner Diaries Part 2. And we all know that warning the authorities didn't do much good. Unless, of course, it's a direct warning. So another scenario had me calling all the airports and the planes that the planes originated from and telling them that, dude, there are 4 hijackers on United 93, and they have X-Acto knives and boxer cutters, and they're totally going to hijack the plane. A credible sounding bomb threat would also might work at an airport. Might stop them just long enough from functioning to ruin those, impeccable plans of Mr. Bin Laden. And then there's the point when I realize that if I'm going to use Doctor Strange-like or Star Trek-y technology to go back in time, why don't I just use those particular speculative forces to stop the planes, the crashing and the death and the smell? And I could make it all look kind of fabulous, comic book fabulous, like a cross between X-Men and Planet Unicorn. Why not start with pulling an army of super smart apes, a la Planet of from a distant dimension, and use them to clear the southern tip of Manhattan? Why not provide some of the apes with, the ones with the best eye-hand coordination, with some 29th century fighter planes with supersonic, even light-speed abilities to chase and catch and then tractor beam those planes and lower them into meadows of sunflowers where passengers can escape and the hijackers can be cuffed and chained by my simian minions. And if my chimped out spaceships aren't fast enough, why don't I just conjure up a super spell to turn a plane or two into giant soap bubbles, giving the passengers jetpacks and use a flock of crimson wing unicorns to pop the bubbles and the dreams of the jihadists. Crimson unicorns. Then there would be rainbows and jelly beans, and the world would be saved. The next decade would be saved, and unicorn. I can't stop saying it. And New York would never have stopped smelling like bagels and garbage and dry cleaning and overpriced everything. And the world, or rather just the United States, or maybe just New York, or maybe just me, I would never stop feeling the sometimes cuddly, sometimes sexy, sometimes enveloping embrace of possibility.
Ted Gideon.